All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Good Sunday morning. How are you? Hope everything is well. Hope you are well. Morning. Let me stop us. Let me stop this one. Uh, Hope you guys are all well. Brother Jarvis, how you doing this morning?
Fine, sir. With Allah, God's grace and mercy.
Yes, sir. Uh, Today we're gonna move it kind of fast because we want to get into talking about our topic today, and we're gonna watch a little bit of the TLA show from yesterday, and we to gotta get some reference points to what we're talking about as far as predator behavior. So without further ado, let's see what we got coming up. We got the news, the hit parade, Black History Minute, your money, and then we're gonna move right into it. All right, so first things first, Warriors legends arrested in healthcare scam. An FBI investigation has snagged a current NBA assistant coach, NBA champions Tony Allen and Glenn Big Baby Davis, a star of the movie The Perfect Score, and Golden State Warriors legend C.J. Watson and Will Bynum for a healthcare fraud scheme to commit healthcare fraud and wire fraud, which could carry jail time up to 20 years, which seems excessive. Players charging the NBA health and benefits plan fictitious medical and dental procedures that never took place. Some supposedly occurred in the U.S. while the patient was playing basketball overseas. 15 players were arrested. Oh boy. Wednesday, as was Tony Allen's wife, the mastermind of the scheme, former number 11 pick Terrence Williams. Williams was recruited players and provided them with fake invoices and the false claims, which stole $4 million, while Williams received kickback from the other players. Williams also faces a charge of identity theft. Blazers coach Mike Palacio, one of Chauncey Billups' new assistants, placed on administrative leave by the team. Other defendants include one of the most famous high school players in history, Sebastian Telfair, two-time NBA champion with the Lakers, Shannon Brown, and small forward and part-time actor Darius Miles and Ruben Patterson played in the NBA until 2007 despite being a registered S-E-X offender. Holy smokes. This is like a cross between first season of the Big Three and The Longest Yard. It's not clear what C.J. Watson and Will Bynum's roles were in the conspiracy. The Warriors signed Bynum to a 10-day contract at the end of 2005-2006 season after actual injury to Baron Davis. Contract was extended the rest of the season by Bynum, and Bynum played 15 games for the team, which is slightly fewer number of years he is currently facing, and later spent 6 years as a quality backup in Detroit. Brother, what do you think about that?
It's very difficult to follow the story. I got fraud in there somewhere. How a
Yeah.
player or ex-player or somebody is committing some kind of health fraud. I don't know what's going on. And I heard sex offender by the other guy who plays in the NBA. So I'm not quite sure. What is the story? What was done?
Well, they
What
were
was the fraud?
what they were doing was they was getting they was billing, I guess, the health provider for uh, procedures that wasn't ever taking place, and everybody was getting a kickback. It's like the Russians. The Russians really started doing that. The Russians would come over and they would. Oh man, we got the coach clinician. Thank you, brother KC. Hold on 1 second, man. I'm gonna pull you up. So what the Russians would do is, man, this is on the East Coast. What the Russians would do is they would bring people from the Russian community into their building, build the Medicare for the services that never took place, and they were just making millions of dollars doing that. And so these guys was pretty much doing the same thing. you know what, brother? We might have to cut straight to the chase because we got the coach clinician and he got things to do, man. So we might have to just run straight into the lead topic. So I'm gonna bring up the coach clinician. All right.
Yes,
All right, how you doing, guys? What's going on?
Brother KC, man, I'm glad, man. I know I hit you kind of late yesterday, but I was like, man, I didn't know if he would have a time, but I've been wanting to get you on, but I kept hitting the lead attorney to get you on yesterday for that situation. Did you see that?
Yeah. Man, you know, I was so busy yesterday, man, working on the show, man. I was actually trying to do a show with Charleston White. You know, Charleston White is an ex-gang member.
I'm very familiar with him, yes.
Right. So just did a show talking about resilience. He popped on. So his show and my show with the lead attorney was intersecting at the same time. So I wanted to pop in, man, but I'm going to do a little clip on it later on today, and I'm going to post it up and let people more or less give their own interpretation of what happened. But I don't know what's going on. I know about the guy Clarence. What's his name? Clarence. What's the guy? I can't think of his name, but he's the business guy. And I don't know too much about it, but I've been hearing some parts of it. So go ahead. I'm going to let you talk, and I'm just going to try to piggyback on what you're saying.
Okay. All right. So what we're going to do, man, is you guys know I usually do the Black History Minute. I'm going to have to get to this stuff on the back end because Coach Clinician, he got things to do. So I don't want to hold him up. And he was nice enough to say he'll stop in for a minute. Let's get right to the chase, man. I'm going to play a little clip of yesterday. And I want you, Brother KC, to go through it and kind of explain to us, because I had a question about this dude, and I don't think he understands his pathology on what he's talking about. So let me play a little clip of him here. There we go. Oh, now I'm not going through.
It's okay. It's no big
deal. Well, we'll wait for it to come through.
Well, I saw some of it, Brother Clarence. I saw some of it. I'm torn. It's definitely some. How can I say it? It seems like he's back and forth, but I'm trying to get the whole picture because I've been listening to his show, and also I was listening to the lead attorneys. I'm gonna do a piece on it, but the corporate says it like he's going. I don't know. It's like it's an internal struggle, but then at the same time, he feels like he hadn't done anything wrong.
That's what I got from it too, bro.
Right. And then wearing the shades is almost like an admission of guilt. But I don't want to judge him until I hear all the evidence because I didn't see all of the show. But I'm actually looking at the show to edit it.
Will this have a deep impact? And
I'm gonna play some of it right now, brother.
Okay, cool. No
about
problem.
impact, because Disruptive Mail had a serious impact, and I want to duplicate that with this new channel. But I want to separate myself from the other content creators because you think, once again, you think that's bad, and that's your opinion. I'm not going to have any truck with that. But once again, I have built, because Disruptive Mail was doing really well, and then I started to get a lot of hate. And then I realized that I had built the channel incorrectly. And what I mean by that is, and this is something that both of you probably will find out if you don't already know it. How you build your channel is how you draw your audience. And
we don't care about the channel. I'm talking about the information that you put out. Why would you tell somebody if they have good parents and stay away from them?
One of the chicks I was dealing with was what's it called, an emancipated teen. And she made her own decisions. What I was saying was, if you're dealing with someone who's still very childlike in the mind, you probably don't want to mess with them.
Okay. Okay, Brother KC.
Yes.
Now, it appears to me that when he says, oh, well, it seemed like he's saying, well, because she's emancipated, it's okay. And I'm not really a predator, even though I'm put traps out there to catch people and bring them in. If I could bring somebody in that's emancipated, it's okay. What's your take on that, man?
Yeah. It sounds like to me that he wrestled with his own pathology, or he wrestled with his own internal convictions. It's like on one end he's saying that I'm not wrong, but on the other end it's justified. So it's like there was a lot of juxtapositioning with this brother about the situation with these underage girls, or these girls, well, not underage. I think he said they were 16, 17, I guess. But you know, the lead attorney said something about, you know, I don't know if this is something he's just into, but when you hear a person say, you know, stay away from the stronger fathers, that lets me know that I don't want to call the man a predator, a bona fide predator, but it does appear that there's some predatory behavior going on, in my opinion. It sounds like there's some predatory behavior, and a lot of times I'm not going to call this man a sex offender. I'm not calling him a sex offender or a sex pervert. I'm not going to do that. But I know I used to work with sex offenders, and most sex offenders are in denial.
Right.
They're in a lot of denial.
Now, what makes you say he has predatory behavior, brother? Because, you know, obviously he doesn't see it. What are things that he's saying and doing that's making you classify that behavior as? I know you're not classifying him, but you're classifying the behavior. What are some of the behaviors you're classifying as predatory behaviors?
Well, listen, most predators tend to prey on people that don't have strong masculine influence. You know, I've always said that kids that are in fatherless homes are more at risk for child abuse and molestation. And so when he said that you stay away from the stronger families, then that sounds very predatorial, in my opinion. I'm not going to call the man a predator once again, but it does sound very predatorial when you more or less segue or more or less differentiate between children that have fathers or strong families versus those that don't have strong families. So it lets me know. It sounds like I can deal with a gullible single mom over an intact home with a strong father.
Yeah, because I listened to the brother, and I mean I could play more of it, but I mean I just listened to him, and it's basically him justifying, being intimately involved with underage girls. When I say underage, I mean under the age of 18. Mm-hmm. Now he was saying some places, he was saying where he did this, the age of consent is actually 16. Mm-hmm. So he said, legally, nobody has any reason to go after him. But so are we going too far, brother? Are we going too far saying, brother, man, these are younger. I know they probably old enough in that state, but still, you as a grown man should know better. Or should we just back off and say, well, she met the legal requirements, so you're good, even though she's under the age of 18. What is your take on that, brother?
Man, the voice of reason would say that you don't deal with somebody that young, even if they are of age, because developmentally they're still growing.
Well, okay, wait, brother KC, because see, people don't know. Why not? What is the issue? If what is the issue with dealing with somebody who's not, mentally developed yet? What can happen, and what's the issue there? Since you've seen this in your practice, tell us why this is not a good idea for a guy to go out and do this.
Well, because the prefrontal cortex of the brain is still developing. And listen, even though a person is not fully developed as a child, human beings still have a basic level of knowing right from wrong, but they don't understand it as comprehensive as you and I. I would say the greatest onus more or less lies on the mother that allow her children to be exploited. We need to take in consideration the woman that allow her girls to get exploited. She needs to go to the same level of scrutiny as we're giving this man, the corporate citizen. But at the same time, one would think that, for children this young, that's off limits. Even if they said, look, I want you to do it, he could put the nail in the coffin and say, you know what, no, I'm not doing that. Y'all are too young. Even if you are 16, 17 or whatever, I'm just not going to mess with girls that young. You got to be over a certain threshold for me to deal with you, because it could come back to bite him, and it sounds like it's coming back to bite him now. But I was listening to him earlier; he was saying something about a statute of limitations. So
right.
I don't know for sure if he, if they can even make it admissible in court now, because it's past the statute of limitations.
Yeah. Do you think that when we look at, because I was talking yesterday to someone and about this same subject, and I was telling them that you could see that a lot of times, a lot of girls, especially, I'm not saying it don't happen to boys, it happens to boys too, and it messes them up. But you can see like girls that go through stuff like that are that get introduced to wild behavior like that, or wild intimate behavior early. They're usually the ones that end up in the strip clubs or in the porn industry or in the adult entertainment industry, some kind of way, the escort business, some type of way. Now, and a lot of times it looks good, but you as a clinician, is that has it been your experience that girls that go through stuff like that and they end up in situations like that, is there a pot of gold at the end of the road, or is that a bad place for them to be, in your opinion?
Well, I don't think it's a pot of gold at the end of the road. Everyone's temperament is different. Some people, Brother Clarence, it can cause them to have a condition called hypersexuality, where they become very hypersexual in their pursuits of whatever. Some can develop personality disorders, but then some of them can be very rigid in their sexuality, and it's a condition called hyposexuality, where they become very rigid and very conservative. So it depends on the individual. It depends on if they more or less saw what happened as something traumatic. It depends on if they were raped. If they were raped, they're more prone for personality disorders if they were raped. But if they were more or less coerced into sex, not coerced, but they willfully joined, they can come up with some very sickening behavior that can lead up to, sexual promiscuity. If that answers the question.
Yes, sir. And because he said a lot of things, man, and I'm like you. Anton called him a super predator and all that. I wouldn't use super predator.
Right. Not going to use super predator, right.
But I would definitely, the guy definitely, in my opinion, has a screw loose as far as, what the impact he's be having on somebody that young.
Right. But, it goes back even with the R. Kelly thing, Brother Clarence. My point is, where's the culpability going to be on the adults? Because he would have never had access to these girls, these children, if these young people, younger. I ain't going to say children because they're young adults. I don't like to use the word children. Anybody over 16 to 17 in my mind is a young adult.
Okay.
But they're not children. I mean, people use that term interchangeably. Some people say a child, but technically a child or adolescent is anybody under 12.
Okay.
So I don't like to use the word child, because as a therapist, we talk about adolescents, we talk about children, then we talk about young adults. So normally young adults are around 18 on up. So they would be adolescents. We're gonna say adolescents or young people. But yeah, I'm not gonna say super predator, but it's definitely some predatory behavior in my opinion.
Right.
Because even if the girl said, "Look, I want you to do it," I don't think I would have went. I wouldn't do nothing like that. Listen, all men love beautiful women.
Right.
Sometimes people try to shame men into saying, but every man, if they could get a younger wife, I'm not saying they got to be super young, but in some cultures like Colombia, it's normal for men to have younger wives. It's
Right.
normal. Right. You go to Brazil, where I went, it's normal for men to have young. Kevin Samuels talks about younger women. So I'm not against a man dating a younger woman, but someone at that developmental age where their brain is still growing, right. I wouldn't have went that far. That's going a little too far in my opinion.
Right. And so that's the thing, brother. We won't. Oh, go ahead, Brother Jarvis.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go
I have
ahead.
a question. When you say developmental in the brain, and I'm not sure what part of the brain you say is still growing.
Right.
Is that mental or physical? Because I really want to. Because I know they interlock, because the mental and physical always interlock. But when you say the brain is still growing, is it? Because I know most women or girls, really, the physical growth is at the age of 16 or 17. They're just about done physically growing.
Right.
Men can go to 21. Men can go to 21.
Yes, sir.
But that
Right.
woman at 16 or 17, and no slight to anybody out there, but that's why, in my opinion, the Caucasian woman is at her height in her teenage years.
Mhm.
That's another story. But when you say developmental, is that mental with the brain? Is that mental or physical or both?
I think it's both. I think I would say it's both because the brain is literally the brain is like a sponge, right? And so just like a light bulb, you get more wattage, the more power you get. So the brain is constantly growing. So as the brain is constantly growing, the cognitions, Brother Jarvis, are beginning to more or less become enlightened. The word illumination comes from the word knowledge or awareness. In the therapeutic world, we use the word cognitions, which means awareness, to help a person see what's going on. So I would say it's both. I would say the physical brain is still growing, and as the physical brain grows, then they become more aware. Piaget talked about something called he talked about cognitive awareness, and Piaget talked about abstract development versus concrete development. And so you notice, like the Apostle Paul said, when I was a child, I thought I was a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. That's due to the prefrontal cortex of the brain, and it's called the reasoning center of the brain, Brother Jarvis. It's that prefrontal cortex is the reasoning center of the brain, and that's the part of the brain that helps a person differentiate more comprehensively right from wrong. All human beings at a certain age know basic right from wrong, but it becomes more comprehensive the older you get. You see my point? You didn't see things as comprehensively now as you did maybe when you were 18. If you grew up in the South, the old folks will say, we don't understand things now, but we understand better by and by. And that's normally due to trials and tests, but also it can be also equivocated as it relates to the development of the brain as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
Yes, sir. No problem. Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Completely. Because,
yes,
like I said, I was having not a problem with it, but I was just trying to reason. Like you said, it's one thing as a child. That's what I tell a child: do what I say. Don't do as I do. But when you get older, you understand why. Because you don't know as a child. Okay, you told me not to do it, so I didn't do it. Right. But as you get older, and you see, oh wow, you told me not to touch that. It's hot. That's why you told me now. Like the trials and tribulations. Now I understand why.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'm actually going to do, I'm glad Brother Clarence, I'm going to do a little clip on it, and I'm going to call it meta awareness. And so, the whole concept behind meta awareness, it comes from a term called metacognitions. Metacognitions basically means thinking about what I'm thinking about. And so it will ask you, it will more or less pose the question, what was this man, the corporate citizen, thinking about? What was Anton Daniels thinking about as he assessed the whole situation? Also, what was the lead attorney thinking about? Because we all have our own respective thoughts about what happened. But I want to make sure I'm fair in my delivery because I don't know all the evidence. I'm hearing bits and pieces, and I was literally listening to some of it, and because I was talking to a client too, but I was listening to bits and pieces of it. Brother Clarence, when you had called me up after I was talking to my client, so I want to make sure I give a comprehensive analysis. But I'm just going to take a short clip of it. And I'll probably run a clip of this, give my take on my spiel, and then let people come up with their own opinion about what they saw in the whole fiasco.
Okay, right on, brother. Okay, brother, we got a question in the chat. Brother Daniel, everybody here, I got JP, Linda Shivers, Blind Guy, his wife, their life, Brother Daniel Madden. We got all the hard driving soldiers here, President accounted for. So we got one brother, Brother Daniel, and he's saying, asking the question, age of consent in the state of Georgia is 15 years old. But he's asking, why is an adult even thinking of a child in a sexual manner? So his question is, why? What would make a man like? I'm gonna paraphrase something that he said. He being Glendon, this guy. And one of the things he said was he was being intimate. He went to a lady's house, a Caucasian lady who had 2 daughters, and he went to her house, and she not only was intimate with him, but she pushed him to be intimate with her daughters. And so that's where issue was coming when the daughter was, I think, 16 and 15 or something like that, or 16 and 17. And so at the time he was trying to be intimate with the youngest daughter said to him, I don't think that's going to fit. Once he presented his phallus, I don't think that's going to fit. And okay, and so now I had the same question when that came up. What would make you say to yourself, I'm going to continue pursuing this, when you obviously realize I'm dealing with somebody who's unprepared for this situation? What makes guys still say, even though this is a child, I'm going to pursue this sexual situation? What's happening in their brains that makes them do that, brother? From your professional opinion.
Well, like I said, she's not a child; she's a young adult. But I know what you're saying. But it's this lasciviousness, you know, being lascivious. I hope I'm saying the word right, but you know, him being caught up in a sexual web of addiction. It sounds like some sex addiction to me. Yeah. And he was more interested in his own lascivious behaviors than the concerns of the child. I see selfishness. I see him caught up in a sex addiction, and then also like, F it, I'm in it for me now. I don't give a damn about the child. So that's how I interpret it. And then his body language, man. Like I said, I don't want to judge the brother because I was looking at a little bit of it, but it's like he's torn. It's like he's juxtaposing between shame and trying to rationale his bad behavior.
Right.
Did you see
that's
that?
What I got too. I got that too. I got that. Well, because if you look on other videos that he did, not with the lead attorney, but he did another video, he's not talking about it as in like, man, I got by with that. I was lucky, you know what I mean? I shouldn't have done that, you know. He's talking about it like actually bragging about it, saying this is
right.
I did this, you know what I mean? And I wish I could, in other words, I wish I could do more, you know what I mean? And so it was really bad. And so the only reason why he was even backing up a little bit off of it was because lead attorney and Anton was coming at him with some real questions that I don't think, like you said, he wasn't even thinking about that. Like, who cares about her? I'm trying to get what I was trying to get done.
Right.
And I don't know why a lot of those guys don't think that way, where they just get so caught up in the pull of trying to make it happen, till whatever happens to the female is just out on the street. Now, I will say this, Brother KC, I feel like it don't matter whether it's a girl or it's a woman. If it's a woman telling you, hey, you know, she gives you every signal that she ain't ready for that intimacy, then you got to know as a man, hey, you know what, maybe this ain't a good time for this. Why would you press on knowing that? I mean, but even especially you see it's a young woman. Now, I know a lot of guys have what you call that, visions of being with a virgin. You know, everybody wants to be with a virgin, right?
No doubt. That's true. You're right.
Right. Okay, so how does that play into his little scheme there, Brother KC? I
don't think he was thinking about it, Brother Clarence, as her being a virgin. I just think he was just thinking about, listen, it's here. I'm going to get it, and I'm going to get in where I fit in. I would have a lot more grace on this child than I would, say, a grown woman. Because, you know, we tend to be very soft on women. You know, a woman can say yes or no when she wants to say yes or no. But a lot of times some women play mind games, not all, but some play mind games with men, and they'll say, "Oh, I want you to do it," but then they want to pull off or whatever. And listen, if a woman said no, then me personally, I would stop,
right.
But I would never deal with her again because she's playing mind games,
right?
And so because we tend to always make our women sometimes be victims, but a child that young would be less culpable than a grown woman or consenting adult. And so, you know, I'm sure you've dealt with women that play the mind games that tease you. And then when you get ready to have sex, they say, no, I don't want to do it. And, you know, I would say, you know what, fine. You know, what you're doing is mind games. I would get up, I would just leave. I would never see her again because she's playing mind games.
Right.
And so, but I just think the corporate citizens, he probably was in the heat of the moment. He didn't care. And it sounds like to me that the mother was into like kink or fetish stuff or whatever you call it. And she used her children and she pimped out her kids for exploitation, in my opinion. It sounds like those children were exploited for her own gratification. And even those 16 or 17-year-old girls wanted the sex, I still wouldn't have touched it. I wouldn't have touched nobody that young. I wouldn't. It's not.
Yeah, it doesn't make no sense, man. It doesn't make no sense to me.
It's not worth it, man. I don't care how fine they are. Yeah. Somebody that young it's just not worth it, man. I wouldn't touch it. Man, she's a grown woman. She's a grown woman. 22, 25, whatever, 28. That's a grown woman. But 16 to 17, I wouldn't touch that.
You saying something, Brother Jarvis?
Yes, sir. I don't the whole story on brother or, what the backstory of him, but I do know when you all mention that certain individual pimping out or using her children, America taught them all this. The Kardashians, look at their mom. She taught them all this. They all became famous behind a sex tape. To me, that's where it started from. When this is what America is teaching, folks to do. You have children, you're girls, you get them next to some athletes, and you pimp them out. Become rich. Look at the when Mariah Carey interview with the girl Carly B. Carly B wanted to talk about how she went from stripper to rapper to being rich, and that's the center now. Now, stripper or exploiting men, that's how you become rich. That's the order of the day now. It's sad. Like I said, I don't know what's the story on brother, but and any man, woman, I'm with brother. I don't know how that's a turn on. That woman is way too young. At least be in your 20s to where, like you said, your brain, mentally and physically, you're grown. Right. At least be grown to where exactly. A teenager don't. Hell, a woman in her 30s don't know. You know damn well a teenager don't know what you're saying, yes or no. So that shouldn't even be a turn. You would think any reasonable, man would read. A teenager, if you in your 30s and up, you too old to be some teenage girl. Yeah. Well, maybe if you're your early 20s or you 20, and you 20 and she's 17, that's one thing. But you 40 and she's 17, that's different.
Right. Like my logic is, the person's in their 20s, 21, 22, 23, that's a college age. That's a grown woman, and, some women are very mature for that age. But my logic is anybody that young, I would have left it alone. I would have left it alone. And it's unfortunate, man, because I don't know if these kids going to be, these young women went on to be very hypersexual. I don't know. But like I said, the mom that allowed him to do it, she should be thrown in the jail because I would say she's more culpable than him. She's more culpable than him, in my opinion. He's wrong, right? But she definitely allowed her children to be pimped out and exploited.
Oh, okay. Well, Brother KC, how does if you can explain, because we, like Sister Glenda, she said, what do you do if the child, if the 15-year-old is consenting and the parents are unaware and denial? How do we step in the gap there, or what are the kind of things that parents do that open these gaps for these young girls to, be in places where they can get caught up and stuff like that?
Well, even if the child is consenting, I'm gonna pop off in about 5 minutes, Brother Clarence.
Okay, thank you, brother.
But even if the child is consenting, you would think that the person that's participating will have a higher level, a higher law of reasoning. And see, Brother Clarence, it goes back to the point now, even with what you call pedophiles, or the NAMDA, National Association of a boy that love.
I was thinking the same thing yesterday, man. I was thinking the same thing.
Right. So you got NAMDA, anyway, National Association of Boy Love. NAMLA, however you call it. Anyway, NAMLA. And so it's getting to the point now that we're going down this slippery slope. Do you accost, or do you more or less excoriate the men that more or less now they're making so sick where grown men can mess with young boys? It seems like we tend to have a lot more empathy for girls than boys. It seems like if boys are being, if a boy was caught up in a quagmire like that, I don't think we would have as much consternation. Imagine if a 16-year-old boy was having sex with a 34-year-old woman. I don't think we would have as much consternation. What's your take on it?
I think you're right.
That's different.
Let me slide it in there real quick, Brother Jarvis, and you can go. I agree with you. You're right, man, because nobody, the most forgotten people are black boys, man. They just got so much stuff happening to them, and what they supposed to be, all they get told is get up, keep walking. You know what I mean? Whereas girls, they take them to counseling, but young boys typically, they just got to just deal with it and move on, man. Some kind of way, make it so that they can walk, through it, and they never really have a way to actually can break it down and get over it, as like everyone else has. That's my opinion. But Jarvis,
when you say 16-year-old boy, 34-year-old woman, in my opinion, that's different. Meaning that if you could become erect, because it's on the man to become erect, even if she, gets him in the mood, that's consenting. A girl to me is different. If my son tells me, well, this older woman, I was with this older woman, okay, did you want to be with her? Because she couldn't have forced you. Because no matter what, if you're not attracted to somebody, you cannot become erect. But you became erect.
But my whole point is consenting on both ends. Who are we to say that she didn't become wet? We don't know. So it's consenting on both ends. My point, Brother Jarvis, is that we tend to minimize if it's a boy. A 34-year-old woman nor a 34-year-old man should be dealing with somebody that young. I don't care if his penis does get hard.
You're right.
And I understand where you're coming from, but see, that's how a lot of times we get caught up in this quagmire where it's okay for women. Some women think it's okay to molest boys. Same thing happened to R. Kelly. R. Kelly was molested by women, and R. Kelly became a super predator. But then we'll turn around and say R. Kelly is sick, but R. Kelly became the man he became because he became hypersexual, because he went through abuse and molestation, and he turned around and did it to others. So a 34-year-old woman shouldn't be doing that to a 16-year-old boy, even though his testosterone levels are high. That the exchange is this. The boy wants the sex, but a lot of times these young girls want sex and money. So how's it any different? Because a lot of these young girls want sex and money when they're dealing with these older men. Or some of them want money. I was in high school. I saw it happen all the time.
Right.
I'm just saying, me, myself, personally, I wouldn't deal with nobody that young.
Right.
But we tend to minimize it when it comes down to boys. When it comes down to boys, we minimize it. He loved it. But a lot of boys that were molested or less got caught up with older women, they became sexually aggressive to the point they began to objectify women, and they didn't see women as nothing but sex toys. So boys can be damaged in that way as well. So I don't think either should be dealing with anyone that young. It's morally wrong for the boys and girls, in my opinion.
Yeah. Brother Casey, I know you got stuff to do, brother. I know you got to step away, man. I just asked one last question, man. Could you kind of tell us, give us some of your opinions of how we can try as the parents, try to guard against these kind of situations and what we should do, and then give us your final thoughts on the whole situation, as much of it as you can.
Well, as parents, the way we guard against it, the world has changed so much now, Brother Clarence. I grew up very traditional, but I would say if all women are kicking their husbands out of the homes, it's really hard to be an exemplar in the homes if you got women that are kicking you out of the home. But if a woman is allowing her husband or ex to be in the home, I would say do everything in your power to watch your kids, understand your children, understand their temperament, know their whereabouts. You'll never know a child 100%, But if you got a child and they got a cell phone, make sure you have a way to make sure they're not looking at porn or anything.
Right.
Also, make sure that they have a tracker on their phone that you can track them at any point, because it all starts with the fathers trying to protect their children. You can give a child everything. Brother Clarence. You can teach a child the ways of right and wrong, but if that child want to go astray because there's so many outside forces there interacting with kids, that child still can go astray. So having a good home, a good father is not foolproof. But I would say trying to spend as much time with your children and your sons, because we tend to exonerate, we tend to always assume, especially men, and I'm guilty of it myself, that, women, these are innocent creatures, they don't want sex. No, women love sex just as much as men.
Right.
And a lot of times we tend to put our women and our daughters on these pedestals like, they're innocent, No, they like to get in just as much as men, or I would say even more.
Right.
But it doesn't justify, what the corporate citizen did. I'm dealing with somebody that young, in my opinion. That was just too young, in my opinion. Even if it was consenting, that was too young, in my opinion.
All right, Brother Kosher. I appreciate you stopping by, bro.
Oh, no
and
doubt.
if you get a little more time later on and we still up, brother, come on through. But you want to shout out your channel, man, and
sure.
let us know what's happening.
Sure, yeah. My YouTube channel is The Kosher Clinician. My channel is dedicated to empowering men, empowering boys, and also teaching men how to deal with the ravages of some of the things that they deal with in society. My channel is based on the premise: if it's not seven, it's not kosher. If it's not kosher, it's not right. And so there are 7 steps that a person must go through in order to become optimized. And so I try to teach men how to modify how they think to get the outcomes that they want. And I try to help them with the thinking errors that a lot of American men have been conditioned to deal with because they don't know what their worth is. So my channel is about male empowerment. It's more or less talks about one aspect, the Kosher Clinician, but also it talks about the Manhood Chronicles. And the Manhood Chronicles is a way for men to tell their story, to tell their pain, to tell their hopes, their dreams, and their aspirations, and how to overcome the barriers and the hurdles that a lot of times a lot of black men or men in America have to deal with in order to become successful.
All right, brother. Hey, man, I appreciate you, man, stopping by on short notice. I know your time is valuable. You got things to do.
Oh, no doubt.
So, man, we're gonna bid you adieu, let you go do your thing. But like I said, man, we might be here for a couple hours. So if you get a little minute, stop on by. I saw you got a live stream coming up soon too. So,
Yeah. Well, not today. It'll be tomorrow, man. It's talking about
tomorrow.
It's talking about the rose-colored glass. I actually had Charleston White on yesterday, and but it's talking about the rose-colored glasses. The velvet-colored painting, and that more or less talks about how a lot of men have been hoodwinked into believing that love is something that goes on forever.
Right.
And that once you get married, it's all bliss, and many are finding out that it's not bliss.
Right.
All are finding out there's a lot of work, pain, and the things they thought they were going to get, they didn't get it. So check the show out tomorrow, man. It's a pleasure, man, for coming on, man. And I got to pop off, man. But I'm glad I had the opportunity to, shed some light. And
I thank
you guys
you.
have a good day. All right.
I thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yes.
All right, man. That was our brother, the Kosher Clinician, man. And I asked him to come on yesterday. He said he had a client to deal with, but he said he would try. So I appreciate it. He made his word his bond. He came on through. What did y'all think? Did the Kosher Clinician hit the points that y'all wanted to hit? We're not done yet. We're not done. We're going to still go through this thing. But, I mean, did he hit some of the points? Anybody, disagree with something he said? I don't know. Anyway, let's catch up on the chats. JP, thank you. Our sons being left behind and ignored, but then made to be the villains at all costs. Yeah, man. Yeah. Unfortunately, there is no forgiveness for men. A woman can do a lot of different stuff. Walk into the church and walk up to that altar and say, "I'm saved," and her whole past is just thrown away. But a man, the FBI be right behind him when he walk in there. He say, "I'm saved. I'm a different person now." No, well, you still got to pay for what you did back in the past. So it's a trip, and but what we need to do with our men is, I think a lot of times, because following the Caucasian society, where the impact to the violated person that's not a major issue. The men just go ahead and do what they want to do, and we have picked that up in a black society, and so we got to start educating the men. Hey, yeah, you might have a thirst or a thirst for this behavior, but this is the impact it's going to have. Do you want that impact? No, I don't want that to be an impact. Okay, well then you got to do whatever you got to do to get rid of that thirst in your throat, or try to figure out how to drink something else. Blind got his wife their life. The damage does go both ways. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I was telling the lady this one time because I saw her fussing at her son crazy, and I said, please don't do that to this man. When you emasculate young men, you're gonna make them take that. All they're gonna do is take it out on somebody else. When they can find somebody else, and you're gonna make a rapist, or you're gonna make somebody who's a violent criminal, because they can't do it to you because they love you, yet they hate you, but they love you. So they can't take it out on you. They can't bite the hand that feeds them, so they're gonna go take it out on somebody else, another female. And we don't want that. That's why we've got to watch how we talk to these young men. We don't want to emasculate them, especially you as women. You guys got a lot of power with these young men, much more power than you ever recognize. Blind got his wife their life. Thank you for your input at the Cameron Clinician, and thank you for bringing the men's perspective, Brother Clarence. Hey, we trying to just put the alternative out here, because we got a lot of guys out here that's saying, yeah, the girl's 16, the girl's 15. She says she want to do it. Hey, go and do it. And I'm with the Coach Clinician, and I think Brother Jarvis the same way. We just like, nah. I mean, it looks like a good idea in theory, but no, don't get caught up in that, because that will come back to bite you. And we got Sister Glenda. His information and knowledge was all on point. Yeah, thank you, Sister Glenda, because he didn't have to stop by here. He did it. I appreciate him. And if you ain't subscribed to him, go ahead and subscribe to him, because I've subscribed to him, and the brother has a lot of on-point information. Anyway, moving forward. Okay, y'all heard the Kosher Clinician, right? Y'all heard what he said about this guy, Glendon Cameron. You heard what he said. The guy has predatory behaviors, right? But we not done. Now, we're not only going to talk about that, but we also talk about Anton's response to this dude. So now we're going to see Anton coming back at the dude and grilling the man over that, and then we're going to talk about that. So everybody just buckle up, sit tight, and let's get back into our video.
Because, like, I don't know if you got what I sent you, and if you didn't, I'm not gonna worry about it. But one of the things that
I did get it. It was very long, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
Yeah. A girl in high school sent me that. And one of the big things that happened in that video was the lack of assignment of culpability to people for making decisions. And once again, I know y'all gonna disagree with me. I'm gonna say it anyway. All 16, 17, and 18-year-olds are not the same. There are some that are very childish, really still immature.
Okay, y'all. Does any one of us don't think that all 16, 17, 18-year-olds are the same? I mean, we all know that, right? We all know that. But does that mean we can start jumping into bed with 16 and 17-year-olds? What you got to say about that, Brother Jarvis?
I mean, well, it's obvious, that we can go 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds are different. Because you could look at high school. In high school football or basketball, you have JV, you have varsity.
Right.
But the reason why you have JV and varsity, because there are developmental periods from year to year, from a 15-year-old to an 18-year-old, that are massive. You know,
Right.
boys and or girls, you could have a growth spurt. You know, that's physical. Boys and or girls, you could have a mental or emotional growth, which can be massive. So you kind of have to separate in those 4 years from 15 to 18, 15, 16, 17, 18. You know, you have to kind of separate junior varsity from varsity because you have to go into junior varsity before you can graduate or go up to varsity. Sometimes you can have a 15-year-old who's big enough or strong enough to play varsity, but that's an
Right.
exception. That's an exception. You know, out of an exception, it's not even going to be 10% of the junior varsity to go up to varsity. It's not even going to be that much. So you have to separate that. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's obvious that, you know, like you said, 16, 17, 18-year-olds are all different. That's obvious because there's always a class. Now we can even go track. You know, in track, they only go in intervals of two. They'll go 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 that can race one another. And even in that, you know, those are big jumps. You know, from year to year, there's a big jump. So yeah, I mean, it's obvious that, you know, that's easy to answer that question. That, you know, and when you have a child, you know, if you study your child and watch your child, which most of us do, you know, you can normally monitor and or try to guide those changes, you know, because they come most of the time overnight. A child to go from a short haircut to trying to grow an afro or trying to do some dreads. You're like, I mean, an afro or dreads don't grow overnight, but they made that decision overnight. So, you know, you have to monitor and or watch your child and monitor those changes and kind of watch them and talk to them, you know, and
Yeah.
even talking to them sometimes may not be enough because once the child, see, I have I tell, or I share with a lot of young women, you know, most women, the mothers, especially if they have boys. I say, you know, if you're going to date, the best time for you to date, if you want to bring him around your children, is when the youngest is in high school. Because normally teenagers, once they get in high school, the little boy kind of, you know, because little boys are real close to their mamas, you know, and any man that come around their mama, you know, they get real protective. More than likely, they ain't gonna like the guy, and you wondering why. You know, you don't even know the man, but they don't like the guy because he ain't my daddy. That's why they don't like him.
Yeah.
So if you're not marrying this man and it's not that kind of serious, if it's that kind of serious, then you, the mother and the child, gotta have a talk, and then that man and your baby daddy, they gotta have a talk. Then after all that, then that man, his soon to be wife, and that child gotta have a talk. You know, and it should go pretty much in that order. But like I said, especially with little boys. Now, once they get in high school, girls and boys, you know, they kind of like everything to them is about their social life. So them little boys ain't even looking at or thinking about mama too much more because they looking at girls now. So now it's kind of safe. You can date now. You know, when they get in high school, they kind of want mama to be happy too. They really don't care. If they don't care. So you can date now. I mean, to me, go ahead, bro.
Well, what I was saying was particularly related to this situation. Like, see, like this brother here, he's saying, you know, because this 16 or 15-year-old is down for the cause, then I'm not doing nothing wrong because she's down for it. See what I'm saying? Which,
right.
And you know, just because somebody, well, let's take our state, California. You got to be 18, and if somebody's down for it, even if they're not, even if they're down for it, even if they called you up, even if they, this was the whole premise behind To Catch a Predator. Remember that show, To Catch a Predator?
Right.
Did you ever watch that show? Where they had a house,
no, I've heard
and
about
the police had a house set up with you know, a guy in there and with cameras and all of that. And what they would do is they would go online and they would invite guys over. They would chat with guys online, pretending to be 13, 12, 11-year-old girls, 14, 15, 11-year-old girls and boys. And they would tell the guy, oh, my parents are out of town this weekend. Can you come over? And when the guy get there, they would arrest him, right?
Right.
That's what they would do, right? So that's pretty much the same premise as this guy here is. And but most of those guys would always say when they got caught, well, she invited me to come over. I didn't do nothing wrong because I didn't actually, get intimate with her. But that's in California, that is irrelevant. If you come over and you make it clear that you coming over to engage in intimate behavior, that's it. That's all they need. Or you start, or what they would do is they would ask them to start sending pictures of themselves, nude pictures, or outlandish pictures like that, and they would do it. So I already have them on the hook. But anyway, man, let's finish up here. Let's look at it some more of this, because this guy is absolutely out of his mind.
And there are some who are damn near predators. And one of the things,
The children are predators.
yes, some of them are.
Now, all of you guys out there, do you think these children are predators because they just some kind of way get involved in sexual behavior, and now they're looking for older men to get involved with? So they find a guy that's like a 16-year-old, find a guy in his 30s. Is she a predator? In my opinion, no, she is not a predator. She's only she's under the protection of the law, so she can't be a predator at this point, in my opinion. What do you say, Brother Jarvis? Do you think the girl is a predator that will come after this guy?
Well, how could she be the predator when he's the pursuer? I mean, one, you're the man. So
but no, he's saying he's being pursued. Well, see, what this dude was, let me break it down even more. What this dude was doing was, back in the day, man, he was so sexualized that he was putting ads on Craigslist to, for different sexual exploits. And he was saying this is how this all got started. He was saying a lot of people were responding to his ads. Some of them will be high school girls even responding to his ads. And so then he said, well, he said, basically, I wasn't sleeping with the high school girls that didn't look good. They had to look good for me to even sleep with them. And we're like, no, bro, you shouldn't be sleeping with high school girls, period, right? 35 years old, that should be out of your range, right? But that's what he was saying. So that's how this all got started. So he was saying all this stuff. The lead attorney and Anton was trying to ask him questions about it. He kept flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping. We're gonna see. He kept flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping and flipping. Now, my thing is, hey, you 35 years old, man. Anybody under the age of 20 years old really should be off limits to you. Really. I mean,
yeah.
What are you gonna do with somebody that young? Really, you're not gonna really be able to do too much with somebody that young. So you might as well leave them alone. But in his head, hey, I was just out there trying to have sex, and I didn't care, and this is the way I was running with it. But he kept lying. He kept changing the subject, or changing the age. 1 minute they're 18, 1 minute they're 16, 1 minute they're 20. So he kept changing everything. So that's what we're watching, man. That's what we're watching here. This dude's a millionaire. Our lead attorney is on his way to being a millionaire. So they just three millionaires trying to discuss it. And he's the one that got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, because he made a video talking about how he was bagging, 16, 17, 15-year-old girls. So he put it on himself. All right, so let's see a little bit more about it.
But you said that you wouldn't consider your behavior or R. Kelly's behavior predator behavior.
Well, if you look at the title of the video, I could have been a predator.
I looked at what you said. You said that you would not consider that predator behavior.
I'm talking. I could have been a predator, and I will give you the Yeah, I had girls in high school sending me dirty, explicit pictures, all this other stuff, and I would just delete them.
Let's talk about this for a second.
I could have easily been a predator if that was my orientation.
Let's talk about this for a second, because you mentioned that there was 15 in your first video. You mentioned that, and you changed it in the second video. So I'm going to get there. But in the first video, you said that there was a 15-year-old. You said, quote, "We were just talking and stuff. I just talked to her. She'd send me dirty pictures. She was running, 100 miles an hour." Right. Then in the second video, you said, well, because now I think we can all agree that's a crime in Georgia, guys. That's actually
I actually never met her. I never chatted. I mean, we talked because I didn't know she was 15 until a little later, and that was one of the issues. So we talked.
Well, let me just jump in. What I'm telling you is, if you're talking and getting nudes from a 15-year-old, that is a crime in Georgia. That's the sexual exploitation of children.
Yes,
and
it is.
It's a felony grade crime, and it goes from 5 to 20, right? 5 years to 20 years.
And it's the same thing out here in California. It's the same thing out here in California, man. You receiving pictures of nude children or sending them, transmitting them, it's the same. It's a felony grade crime out here in California. But I want to get to the part where Anton is, still it really starts coming at the dude. Hold on. JP, is it matriarch? How can they be predators when they lack authority, agency, or authority over an adult? Absolutely, JP. There's no way. I mean, in his mind, the predator. That's what I really wanted to coach a clinician to go into the mind of the kind of person that thinks, yeah, because they stepped to me, I'm good. I didn't do anything because I didn't force her. No, bro, she's still underage and she can't even give you consent. Brother D, how is this handled when a young boy is having sex with the house sitters that are 18 to 22 or older? Yeah, Brother Jarvis asked that question. Brother Jarvis asked that question. Or older, and she brings the sexual experience, and she's the predator. Nothing until lately, in my experience. You're right. Because people don't usually look at that as having a serious effect on young men. They usually figure, oh, well, he's a boy, and so, it ain't gonna really have no serious effect on him. But it does have effect on these young guys because it gets them sexually stimulated much earlier than they should be, in my opinion. What you got to say about that, Brother Jarvis?
On that one, like I said, one thing about an older woman, when you're a young man, and I don't think you should really experience an older woman until you're in your mid to late 20s, because that's when most of the time you with women around your age. But one thing about an older woman, she can show you things that you don't know.
Right.
And when she shows you things that you don't know, it's pretty good for you in the end. For when you with someone right around your age, you can take her to school, and it makes it better for both of y'all. But when you say, what do I say about that? Again, I think the R. Kellys. Now, I will admit, when you have a very young man and an older woman, you can wake him up too soon. But young men are having sex. Most of the time, they're having sex with women around their age. A 15-year-old or 16-year-old is normally having sex with a 15 or 16-year-old. And really I would say from 14 to, I say mid to late 20s as a man. The only thing you really know is ground and pound. You don't know anything else.
Right.
You that. You just know ground and pound.
Right.
So that's why I say, going back to the R. Kellys of the world, I don't want to say that he's an exception, but
he's not.
You can wake up because, like I said, most young men are having sex with young women right around their age. So you would think a woman is a woman, but no, woman is not necessarily a woman. A 16-year-old woman and a 32-year-old woman are two different women. Those are two different people altogether.
Yeah.
I just don't want to say that because a 16-year-old, and I can't argue with the doc. I'm not trying to argue with the doc. I can't argue, but I think the R. Kelly's becoming sexual deviants or becoming sexual, where you just got to feed your sexual appetite at all costs. I don't know if an older woman can make that happen. You know, I'm not saying it doesn't happen because, like you said, the R. Kellys of the world do exist, and I've always been a defender of the R. Kellys, me myself. You know, again, but you know, I do have a daughter, and did R. Kelly do it? I really don't know. Should an older man be with women who are underage? Hell no, that should never happen. I don't know how you become sexually aroused if you're in your 30s or even your 20s with a woman that's in her teenage. What do y'all talk about? I mean, how do you can't, because 50% of sex is, I think, well, with men, 30% maybe, but you gotta, I mean, you gotta be some foreplay or something, man. That girl, you can't be sexually aroused with a girl that young. You can't.
It's power, man.
You know,
It's
I mean,
power. It's power. It's power. They're attracted to the power. And I'm talking about the men that want the girls that young, man. They want to be able to be powerful over them. They feel a sense of power because a woman their own age is going to kick back on some things and say, wait a minute, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do this. Right. We always, me and you, we used to talk about this all the time, right? Where a lot where we would say, you know, if you go on a date with an older woman, typically she's gonna say, and you pull over, you know what I mean, behind the DMV, she's gonna be like, "What you pulling over here for?" Right?
Right.
What you do that for? But a younger woman's gonna be like, "This is the spot. This is the spot. Let's get it on." You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's
Right.
what they want, is that where they don't have no barriers to entry. They want the power. Yes, sir. I'm gonna just talk to the audience. So they just want the power. They want to be able to just push their program to the people. They want to be able to push their program to the people, and you know, just tell them, hey, look, to the girl, I mean, and say, this is what I want to do, and you doing it, and the girl say, okay, boss, let's get it done, right? And everybody wants that, because that's what sex is about. It's about power, right? That's what it really boils down to, right? But there's certain kind of power that's not good. It's not good power. You don't want to be in a situation where you can mislead somebody, or better yet, the men don't understand the impact of doing that or getting involved with a young girl at that age. Or same thing with a woman. You feel like this is a guy, it's not gonna hurt him. Just like what's that teacher, Mary Kay Letourneau? She caught this boy up, man. He got 3 children by this lady. Unfortunately, she passed away, but he got 3 children by that lady. I mean, he's connected to her forever. He can't never, you know, he can't never have. I see you trying to come up, Brother D. He can't never come, you know, he can't never escape her. He had to divorce her just because of her being a registered sex offender, so he could set up his business, his marijuana business. I mean, it was a crazy situation. Brother D, what's going on, man? Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Brother D? I think it's something going on, man, Brother D.
What's happening, my brother?
Oh, I got okay, good, got you. You sounding good. You sounding perfect. Yes, sound perfect, man. No echoes, nothing. What's your take on this, man? What's your take on?
Hear me?
On all of this, man?
Okay. Might be some lag time.
Okay. What's your take on this whole situation, man?
We got a lag.
Okay.
I think it's a total different dichotomy when you start talking about the age of the males and the females. Big time.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Brother D?
Can you hear you, Brother Clarence?
Well,
Yeah, he got a
it's
lag.
not really taken seriously when it comes to a male interacting with a female, but it's like I said earlier, I worked a lot of cases.
Right. Well, I'm tell you what I'm gonna do, man. I'm gonna play a little bit more because I definitely want to get into that, but I want to get into where Anton goes after him like with both hands. So let me
It's more detrimental when it's a male.
true that. Let's listen to some more.
Once I found out she was 15, I stopped talking to her and I deleted the pictures.
Gotcha. All right. But still, even if you don't know,
I know. A lot of men have gotten caught up because they were talking to a girl. They didn't know how old she was. The law don't care. The law doesn't care. And I was like, you're 15. She said, but I'll be 16, I think, in May. And I was like, that doesn't matter. You're 15 now. I can't keep talking to you. And
wait. Now I'm confused because you're saying, well, when you found out she was 15, then you deleted the pictures and you stopped talking to her. But you said in the second video that she actually wasn't 15. You said that she was 16 and you just lowered the number to make it more polarizing.
Well, I lowered the numbers of the girls and her mother, and not that one, because there was many girls. So not that one in particular. But this happened all of the time. I would be talking to a girl and I would find out how old she was, and I was like, okay. And it was a policy. I would just go ahead, block their email, delete their pictures, and keep it moving. This happened a lot.
So the 15-year-old that you talked about in the first video, she actually was 15.
See what I'm saying, blind
But
guy?
when you found out she was 15, then you stopped talking to her and deleted the videos?
Well, I didn't have videos, just pictures.
I'm sorry. You're exactly right. Deleted the pictures?
Yes.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Anton?
I think it's nasty. It's so nasty, man. And I think maybe it's, the ironic thing that I'm trying to figure out, because I say this regularly. I say I need to be the man that I would want my daughter to marry, right? I'm a reflection of the thing that I would want my daughter to marry. And I've heard Glendon admittedly say that he has a daughter. And so I'm so confused because TLA, one of the things that you said in this show was that, one of your blind spots or handicaps, so to speak, figuratively speaking, was that you don't have kids, right? So you don't understand what it means to truly love and be passionate about the well-being. Sons are different. They rough and tumble. You want them to go through stuff or whatever, so on and so forth. I had a young man that I almost adopted. That was my nephew that lived with me.
Almost done,
and I wanted to push him. I wanted to go through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But daughters out of your own, that's yours, and then you can sit here and justify the idea that you was sitting there in grave detail talking about it ain't nothing like going with a young girl and she's 17 and I did her about 15 times, and even after she told me she was 17, I kept doing it to her, but you was a lot more graphic and all of this stuff. You have a daughter, bro. That don't bother you? Like, even outside of the law, outside of what was, because slavery was once legal, that don't mean that it was right. We're talking about morals and ethics and character. That don't bother you, bro? Honestly, that you got a daughter?
My daughter and I have a very special relationship. And she kids me. She's like, hopefully you won't be dating someone my age. So
Okay. So I said yesterday on the TLA show that this dude is a sociopath, meaning that other people's feelings don't have nothing to do with him. He just doesn't have any, even his own daughter, he probably wouldn't even mind if his daughter came home and said, yeah, this 35-year-old man I'm gonna go over his house and we're gonna play. So
He would mind. He mind.
he might. Nah,
No,
he
he
wasn't.
mind. He would mind. Yes, he
You say he
would.
lying?
Trust me, he would.
Nah,
No, he
I
would
don't know, man.
mind.
I don't know.
Mind. He would mind.
I don't know.
I
I
do
don't know,
know.
man.
I do
I'm
know.
I'm listening
I
to
He
do.
this
sound
dude,
like
man.
he'd play with his daughter. He sound like he'd play with his daughter.
Yeah, and that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm not going.
I mean, he looked like he's up for anything. I don't
I
know,
don't
brother.
know.
Let me see what Sister Glenda said. Absolutely, that's when all caps started showing up in the chat. Glenda also stated that he has a special relationship with his daughter. What? Yeah, what does that mean? What does that mean, Sister G? I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about it. We'll get somewhere with that. What you got to say about that, brothers? What y'all say?
I don't want to touch that. Not with his daughter. I'm praying to God that that's not true. I don't know.
What you say, Brother D?
He has all the particulars of a predator.
Man,
I have interviewed a lot of guys that were sexual predators. I have interviewed a lot of guys that were sexual predators, and he has all of that.
And what we want to do, man, is we want to be about solutions, man. We want to be able to. I want somebody to see this program 10 months from now and be able to say, okay, what can I do to not have my daughter or my son in this situation where they're looking, first of all, they're out looking for sex before it's time. Second, if they actually find somebody that wants to have sex with, that person won't have the space to come in and do anything with them. How do we set that up? What do you guys say about that? How do we go about doing that?
I think you got to go and be like is like Big Mama in them. See, one thing about Big Mama,
I'll let
Big Mama
Brother
was
Jarvis
nosy.
speak first. I know my lag time is.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead, Brother Jarvis.
know. Big Mama was telling me to wait.
No, I said, go ahead, brother.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yes. Like I said, I know Big Mama was nosy. So anything that you did or you was into, you know, Big Mama, before she folded up the clothes and put them in your drawer, she go through your whole drawer,
Yeah.
go through your closet, put everything you
Yeah.
own. So when you
Yeah.
say, what can we do? Like brother said earlier, the doc said, you got to go through their phone. Even when they're a
Yeah.
teenager, you need to have
Yeah.
control of their phone.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're not gonna like it. You're not gonna be their
No.
friend. You're not gonna be popular.
Right.
But I mean, you want to be their friend, or you want to be their mother or father.
Right.
So I mean, there are some solutions. I mean, the thing is, I mean, you just got to be like Big Mama or Big Daddy. You got to be nosy. They're not gonna like
Yeah.
it though. They ain't gonna like you for it
No.
because you're not gonna be the cool mommy. You're not gonna be the cool auntie. You're not gonna be the cool daddy. You're not gonna be the
Yeah.
cool, uncle. Just be nosy and like you say, every day, just talk to them every day. What you doing,
Yeah.
what's going on. And sometimes when they shut down, nosy. Because a teenager shut up on you and they don't want to talk. When they don't
Yeah.
want to talk, that's when you go through everything. Every
Yeah.
day you go through that phone,
Yeah.
and you want to know who their friends are, who they're hanging out with. You
Right.
go up to the school. You talk to the principal, you talk to the counselor, you talk to everybody. I
Oh,
mean, if
you
you really
basically a
want to
pest.
try to hold them,
You basically a pest.
what was that?
You're basically
Yes,
a
sir.
pest. Okay.
Right. That's what Big Mama was. Big Mama was nosy as
Yeah.
hell. She knew everything.
Yeah.
And it's good. Unlike today. Back in the day, whatever you did down the street, somebody would call Big Mama and let her know what you did before you even got home. Ain't like that too much today. Everybody want to mind their business. Nobody want no problems.
Right.
But that's about, as far as me, I mean, that's just a tip of the iceberg as far as solution. You just got to be, do your due diligence and I pray that it's sad that when this man said me and my daughter have a special relationship,
Uh,
it's sad that some people draw the conclusion he may have sexual contact with his daughter. I hope that's not true.
I hope
You know,
so too.
I don't, like I said, I don't know the backstory on this guy. I have no idea. I don't know, but I hope that I don't want to draw that conclusion. To me, if he was really doing that, he wouldn't come on the internet. He ain't that crazy, right? He ain't that stupid, right?
Nah,
You know.
I don't think so. I don't know, but you never,
So
man. One thing about people, you never know. You never know. So he could be saying, and a lot of guys like that, they psychopaths like that. They talk in code. You know what I mean? They talk in code, just like R. Kelly used to talk in code and tell you things, but you didn't. We wasn't because we was listening to the music. We wasn't paying attention. But this dude's the same thing, man. And one thing I don't know, I see what I don't like is people that change their story all the time. So first time it was these girls was 16, 17. Now they 18 and 19. And he just keep changing the story. And whenever they push him too hard, he just changes the story. Now I don't know why anybody would do business with somebody like that, but that is what it is. But anyway, let me let Brother Daryl, Brother Daniel, come up and say his piece. Brother D, what's up? Brother Daniel.
Well, I kind of agree with Brother Jarvis, um, but when I look at the gentleman, because I watched the show the other day as well.
Right.
Um, can you hear me?
Yeah. Bye. Good.
He has. It seems like it seems like a special relationship. What kind of special relationship you got with your daughter? That kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Brother D, what I'm going to suggest to you, man, is to pop off and come back. Maybe that'll get rid of the lag.
And I think I'm gonna have to drop because the audio is not catching up with the speed level.
So why don't you click off and then come back?
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna let Brother D handle his business on his end. He can come back, and then probably the lag will be there. Okay, now I don't know. You don't know Brother Jarvis. You don't know Anton like we know Anton. He can be a little self-righteous, as we're gonna see right here. He can be a lot self-righteous. So let him.
So my daughter knows who I am,
sir.
No, I mean
Sir?
you said everybody's a millionaire on this panel, right?
These two definitely, yeah.
What two? I'm sorry.
The two on the ends.
What end? Left or right?
Left and right. The two.
So all
the
three.
two. All three of them are working on it, but the one in the middle is an attorney. I don't know if he's a millionaire, but these two are admitted millionaires. They both are millionaires. The two on the end.
Okay, I understand. So if he's a millionaire, why would he need a young girl? He has access to all kind of.
Well, he wasn't a millionaire at that time. He is now, but at the time, he wasn't a millionaire. Did we talk? He said, he said that he was doing this kind of stuff 20 years ago. He's 53 or 55 now. He said he was doing this stuff 20 years ago. So at 35, he was, and he said he went hard for about 10 years. Then he kind of just got tired of it and slowed down and just stopped it. So, but he said at 35, he just started running ads on Craigslist. Hey, I like to do this. I like to do that. I like to do this. I like to do that. Is anybody out there interested? And he said he would get a lot of responses every day. That's what he said. So this had nothing to do with business. It was strictly satisfying his sexual appetite. That's strictly what it was about. So that's what he was doing that for. And he just I guess he wanted to see if he could do it, if he could get people to, jump in the bed, jump in there with him. So Anton is coming back at the guy saying, hey, you're wrong for doing this, you're doing that. And, he has a kind of this self-righteous attitude toward the guy. Now, I don't have a self-righteous. I hear that, he came on the show a couple of weeks ago. He came on this show a couple of weeks ago. He said, if you ever need anything, just hit me up, man. Just hit me up. I did hit him up. I'm not going to say what I asked him for, but I hit him up. I still haven't got a response for it. Brother D, how you doing now, man? You still got a lag? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, brother?
I can hear you, but it still seems like lag.
You don't have the lag.
I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you, man. It's very faint, but we can hear you.
Yeah, your volume is low.
Yeah, very low. Let me see what your wife got to say. He went at it for 12 years, Brother C, but I believe he's still at it. Just haven't been caught. You may be right, Sister Glenda. You may be right. I don't know. What I think, what I'm nervous of about him, and when I talk about him, I'm talking about Glendon. What I'm nervous that from the way he did these other videos, he was kind of like teaching this philosophy of, if you don't get caught, you're good. You know what I mean? And, to me, he going to get a lot of guys put in jail trying to follow his advice, which is going to be sad. Okay, brothers, let me catch up to these chats here. Blind guy, his wife, their life. I'm headed out, and I would like to thank you, brothers, for this. It's helpful to know that men are in place trying to keep our young men and women safe. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Laquita. We appreciate y'all, man. Stay safe wherever y'all going, man. Stay safe. Anyway, yeah, so if you can chime in, Brother D, can you hear me? Can you chime in?
I'm not sure if you guys can hear me very well. I don't have.
Well, we can hear you a little better now.
Okay.
And so, what is your theory on this situation, man?
He's not an unusual person. He's one of those people that hide in the background and do the BS. That's the type person. So he's not an unusual. You know what I mean? We think we don't have a lot of these black predators out here because that's normally other people's stuff.
Right.
They're out there.
Right.
They're out there, and they are, and especially when they got a little bit of paper.
Right.
Who are they bringing in? They bringing in them young girls because that's what they want. They want some new shoes, some new Jordans, new outfit, and they're very easy to track because the head ain't where it's supposed to be.
Right.
But where the hell is his head at though?
Right.
You know what I mean? To even be going after chicks like that.
Well, let me see what your wife said, man. Your wife, Sister G, said he's gonna get a lot of males killed, including himself. Easy, Sister G. Easy.
She know how I roll.
Easy, Sister G.
She know how I
get down. Well, I know that's right, though. I know that's right, man. You keep running. See, you just run into the wrong one, man, and you're gonna be, you know what I mean, left out there. You know what? Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Just immaterial. If you ran into a guy like that, you have a daughter, 15, 16 years old, and you pick up her phone, you find this guy's information in there, you see they've been trading pictures and stuff. What do you do as a dad? What's your first call? The police?
The first conversation I'm gonna have is with the mother and find out if she knows. Because like I said, I work a lot of these cases.
Okay.
And a lot of times the daughter will talk to the mother before she talks to the father.
Right.
And mama gonna act like she don't even know. Sometimes it's the father that's the perpetrator.
Wow.
And a lot of cases like that. Let me tell you something else. There's an officer right down here that got arrested he's been molesting his stepdaughter forever.
Oh, man.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't until she showed up with her girlfriend, he decided he gonna do his thing with her too.
The girlfriend too.
Right. But the girlfriend went and told the parents, and they wasn't playing that other girls. Oh, you just being fresh and you just dressing this, that, and the third. No, she went to her parents and they got right on it. And dude fled the
Oh
state.
my God, he fled.
Right, because he knew he was guilty. Now, this has been
Right.
going on for about 9 or 10 years.
Whoa.
And she's been telling her daughter, hey, this is what's going on. And what was her mama saying? No, you just jealous of my boyfriend. I think he was her stepdad or something like that. And she knew about it. But as soon as her girlfriend, went and told them parents, and 5-0 showed up, they got on it. And he hauled ass. He got out of town.
Man.
And he got caught like, I think, a month and a half. You know.
Oh man, that's
This
terrible.
is law enforcement.
Yeah, man. I mean, I hear
Same
you,
thing
bro.
we got. So it's
Hey.
going on, man. It's all kind of stuff going on out here. I don't appreciate it. It disturbs me. I think you could. I saw the lead attorney show. I think you saw his face expression change. So did mine. You know, because it's a very sensitive subject, but it gets ignored. It hasn't been getting ignored for decades.
You know what? It's wild, man, because you're sitting there listening to somebody talk, man, and you're like, man, this dude is capping, man. Nobody actually thinks that way. You know what I mean? You're like, man, this dude is he's got to be, he's trolling, man. Nobody actually thinks this way. And then he'll say something else that verify the last crazy thing that he said. You're right, brother. You know what I'm thinking about it? You're right. I was working. I told you I work for the city of LA, man. I was working, and we work out in the field. So we have different areas that we had to work on a regular basis. So one of our guys was working this area in the valley, in the San Fernando Valley. And so one day we came to work, and the LAPDs was there, man, waiting on him, right? Everybody's like, what? You know, everybody walking through the door, they were like, are you so-and-so? No. And they were just waiting at the door. And so finally he came in, they scooped him up, right? So come to find out, what happened was he had went and did some work at this house where this girl was sitting by the pool. You know, big, beautiful breasts, big butt, big legs, big everything, right? One thing led to another, man, and he started talking to her. This dude was a preacher, by the way. He was a preacher on the, you know what I'm saying? And so anyway, so what he did was he went and start talking to her, and he got invited into the house for some lemonade or whatever, right? So anyway, one thing lead to another, pumping and sweating in the shed, right? So that was that time. Then he comes back again, maybe a month later, same thing. Then he comes back again. This is time number 3. Comes back again the third time, happens again. So he's like, and this guy's married, preacher, everything, right? So kids, good job, man. Anyway, risk all of that. So anyway, so what happened was on the third time, as he was leaving, the little girl, the girl that was actually he was being involved with intimately, her friend came from down the street to ask her if she wanted to go play or something like that. And so the girl that was actually being intimate, she said, "Oh, see that guy leaving? That's my boyfriend." "Oh, that's your boyfriend?" "Yeah, that's my boyfriend." "Oh." So she said, "How you got a boyfriend?" and you only, you know, just such age. Well, come to find out, the girl had told the guy she was 16. She was actually 15. She was actually 12. Told she was 16. She was actually 12 years old, right? I mean, 16 is bad enough, right? 16 is bad enough, but she was actually 12 years old. So the friend was like, So she went home, told her mom. The mom went to the school, told the school. The school called the cops. That's how they got him. Good dude too, man. I mean, as far as I knew, good dude, but you never know. Never know, man. Some of these clowns are like this dude. They talk it, they open with it, but sometimes you never know, bro. You never know.
I'm just gonna say this very quick, and this is gonna sound kind of bizarre as well, because it was going on for a long time. But they had this dude, he was actually on a talk show, and you know, he was sleeping with his wife, but he was also sleeping with both his daughters. At the same time.
Blood daughters too?
Yes. And this is from the time they were young. And they were all on the show. Talking about, he said, oh, everybody enjoyed it. We all enjoyed it. And the daughters is trying to say they didn't know what was right and wrong. And they're in their 20s. They're like 28, 30. You know. And it was still going on.
It was still going on?
I'm like, where do they find these people at? And they all acting like this is a family affair. This is what we do. And had her to have a show about it. So I was a little tripped about that.
Hey man, your estimation. I know you're not a doctor and all of that, but your estimation, how does something like that even get started, bro? How does a man say to himself, I already got a wife, but I want my daughters as well? How does something like that even get started in a man's head like that, bro?
It's got to go way back to their childhood and their background and what they were exposed to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people grew up in speakeasies. I mean, their house was
Richard Pryor, yeah.
And all kinds of environments. And they sold, I mean, I knew some chicks that their mama was pimping them off. And they were adults. You know, they would have these little get-togethers, have drinks and music. And they would be slinging their, daughters over to the moleheads. So it's not something that's new. But I think it starts in the home. I don't think the children are just coming up with this stuff.
Right.
The environment that they're involved in.
Yeah, but
it continues for so long until they think it's normal.
But what I'm trying to find the words to say how will a man get to the point, because I know you've interviewed guys like this. What is it that is motivating them where they say, you know what, this is a good idea. Me gonna take my daughter like I would take a wife. This is a good idea. What is driving them when they actually do that? What's going on?
It's got to be some kind of psychotic trauma that occurred at a very young age. 9 times out of 10, they've experienced some kind of trauma. That's what I've noticed. They've experienced some kind of trauma themselves, and that became normal. So then they take on the same psychological effect, and then they become predators as opposed to being the victim.
You're talking about the men,
right?
Okay.
And the women do the same thing.
Okay.
They was talking about Cardi B, how she ran out and did this, that, the third. So a lot of guys, well, if you really look back and backtrack her history, that's what she did. She suffered certain things and got into the strip club, and she basically was a hoe and got in the rap business and this, that, and the third. So if you really do any study, most of us don't do any study on people, but as an investigator, that's our job. We get to investigate people,
right,
what their background is. We go all the way back,
right,
and then you start finding out stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you start seeing commonality in their activity. And sometimes it sounds strange that a victim will be a predator, but a lot of times that's the case.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. That's sad, man. That's sad. Brother Jarvis, catch you up, man. We talking about.
With the Cardi B.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, I was just gonna say, the way the Cardi B story is told and the way she tells it like a success story. It's like the Kardashians. The Kardashians are rich, but it's told as a success story. See, this is what America does.
Mm-hmm.
You say, well, a lot of these victims become predators. It's something traumatic that happened. That part of the story never gets told. They leave that part out. And when Carly B tell her own story, like I said in the Hollywood magazine, when Mariah Carey interviewed Cardi B, the way Cardi B told her story and the way I'm hearing Mariah Carey talk to Cardi B, I'm so proud of you. And it's like, wait a minute, there's a whole lot of pain there. There's a whole lot of hurt there. That never even gets addressed. So I'm so proud of you. Yeah, you're rich. Yeah, you have money. But in the end, it's like, I said this on another show with Clarence. Do you let a lot of porn industry women who do porn, they wind up committing suicide? I think it's over 70%. Because that kind of hurt and that kind of pain, they and if you think I'm lying, look it up. That kind of hurt and that kind of pain, they can't live with it. So yeah, you get money. Oh yeah, Carly B, you rich, but is it really a success story? The Kardashians, yeah, y'all rich, but is that really a success story? But the way America portrays it, the way America tells it, from rags to riches, that's a success story. But is it really? Is it really? But I'm sorry, Brother Clarence. Please go ahead, man. You said you're gonna catch me up.
I'm just saying, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Yes.
We're trying to figure out how guys get to the point where they, step up. Like this guy we was talking about, he stepped over the line at 15, 16. But how do guys actually get to the point where they start predatorizing younger kids? Like 12, 11, 10 years old. Brother D was talking about a situation where guy was dealing with his own daughters. Man, it's an ugly situation. But how does that happen? How does that develop? Brother D was saying they have their own trauma. The predator has their own trauma, and they go out and become a predator themselves. But I'm trying to figure out, man, that makes sense. But is there a way we can teach a methodology where we can have men who have those types of thoughts have that scattered out of their heads?
Wow, that's a good question. Brother D answered the question when he said it's something traumatic that happened in their life, male or female, that caused them or drove them in this direction. Yeah. But what can we do as a society or community to prevent all this is a hell of a question. There is a way, but the way I was taught is something, it's called restrictive law. And there is restrictive law. But America is not under that.
Ain't no restrictions.
Just to hear that term.
Not when it comes to us, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No restrictions.
Right. But just to hear that term or that phrase, we as a community, meaning Black folks, that takes us back to slavery, restrictive law. I don't want to be restricted on nothing. But that's the problem. Like you said, if you really want to prevent all of this, there are do's and don'ts. The Bible and Quran weren't wrote for no reason. In those books are your do's and don'ts. if you want to get through this with as least amount of pain as you want to, it's like a new car. Every new car comes with a manual.
Right.
You can put orange juice in the gas tank if you want to. Car's not going to run. You can do what you want to do. There's a restrictive law about putting fuel in a car. The restrictive law says you need 87, 89, or 91 octane. Without, it's not combustible. You can put orange juice in there, it's not going to run.
Right.
You know. So, I mean, to answer your question, I mean, yeah, but America doesn't. I mean, we love rags to riches, and I say we, I mean the American people. You know, look at the Kardashians. They praise for doing what they do.
Yeah. They're billionaires. Yeah.
I believe also that a lot has gotten lost because when I was growing up, we policed our own neighborhood. We never dialed 911. If somebody was acting up in the hood, we handled that ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how we handled it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody ever dialed 911 because what happens when we dial 911? She's going to be a white cop, police in our neighborhood, showing up, guns are blazing. They don't care who gets shot.
But Brother D,
they don't care who gets arrested.
Right.
Brother D, now you saying back in the day when you know things happen in the neighborhood, you handle it. Do you think it has something to do with black men being actually in the home back then? Because we all know the stats that 70% of black homes are run by single mothers. Do you think it has something to do with that?
It had a lot to do with it, but if you really look at the statistics, I know maybe it was your show or someone else's show. When you look at the dichotomy of what happened in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and 80s, it was a commercial aspect that changed in each one of those 10-year blocks. And most of the families, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, it was whole families. The economy was up. Everybody had a job. This, that, and a third. And when they start moving all the economy and businesses to other countries, that's when you started seeing the breakdown of the families. That's when you started seeing people being raised by single family mothers. The father is not allowed to be there because she's on Section 8. And everybody's on, well, you know, you got to look at the economy also. And we get hit with the economy harder than anybody else. Right. And who are they bringing over here? They letting the Mexicans flow over here. Got no problem with them. They bringing the Afghans over. What'd they do with the Haitian people? Send them back home. So there's a whole lot to do with the economy and how they want to run. The New World Order is in effect. If people don't know what that is, go look it up because you need to find out why things are happening. And it's systematically happening. It didn't just pop up overnight. When you see stuff popping up in your neighborhood and they're building up and moving you out, that was planned 20 years ago, in case you don't know.
Right. Right.
And I will talk about that when we do our show, and I will go into that in a segmented manner. But
you still set for Thursday on that?
Yeah. I'm gonna send you a synopsis, let you know what the subject matter is. There's so much to be talked about. But I don't want to eat the whole elephant in one bite.
Right.
I'll just put a little bit of stuff out there. But it's stuff that's never talked about, especially not amongst us. And I feel incumbent as a black man that has this information to pass it on to other, people that are really wanting to learn what's going on because we're suffering because of lack of knowledge. Right. And unfortunately, white man ain't gonna give it to you. But we got too many brothers and sisters out here that have that knowledge, and they're not putting it out there either. Unless it's for self gratification. If they're trying to get something for themselves, and they'll put a little bit out of there. But I'm gonna put some snippets out there, at least to get the brain to chime and start thinking about doing a little research. Go check this out. Go check that out.
Absolutely, brother.
Get some information, because walking around with a lack of information, you just a shell.
Yeah.
You're an empty body walking around bumping into stuff.
Yeah.
I have a lot of knowledge, and I ain't got no problem with putting it out there. But that's what we need more than anything else.
Yeah.
A lot of people just walk around ignorant, quite frankly, and they're not
Yeah.
studying, and they're not very interested. They're into today's society is about here and now. They're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about setting up a legacy so they can build a family. They're not thinking about investments. They ain't thinking about that. Whatever's
Yeah.
going on today is what they're thinking about. And if that ain't happening, they're not worried about it.
Yeah.
I don't have that thought pattern.
But that's what America teaches. When you say where or why these predators come about, that's what America is all about. America is a predator herself. So
That's
when you
right.
ask the question, how do we prevent all this? It's damn near impossible. You got a whole country that is built upon predatory values. So when you have a predator, a young man, and you wonder, how did he get this way? As I heard the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, made in America. That's how he got this way.
Yeah.
So we have to, as a community, come together and again, come out of her, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But you come out of her when I live her. You know, but you have to come out of her because
what did Malcolm X also say? We had to divorce ourselves from America. We have not done that.
yes, sir.
We're still living off of
Yes, sir.
America dichotomy, American lifestyle, European lifestyle. We can't live like that. This country wasn't built like that. And they're scavenging all the other countries. We've all seen that. China is all over Africa.
Right.
The Russians is all over Africa.
Right. They all over here too. Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They all over the place. Places they ain't supposed to be. So,
Right.
but we ain't got no warriors no more. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
It took 60 years for them to enslave the African, but they don't tell that story. It took 60 years for them to do. They make it sound like they just showed up on
64,
boats.
yeah,
Right.
64 years. Yeah, 64
Right.
years.
Like they just snatched us up and we came over here. No, they was getting their ass kicked. Where all we had was spears.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And what did they do? They went and got the Spaniards and all the other Europeans and came back with more ships, more guns. So, and we only 14% up here.
Okay, y'all. Well, I hear what y'all saying. And it's true indeed, man. True indeed. But how can the parent that's just trying to go to work, come home every day, pay the bills, how can they make sure that they children are not getting caught up in stuff like this? What can they do? I know, Brother Jarvis, you said a lot about the technology and staying on top of the technology. But is there anything else? Is there anything else we can do to? I mean, as far as the relationship we have with the child, even, you know what I mean? How we talk to the child, how we debrief them, what values we put into them. Is there any way? What do y'all think about the best way to go about doing something like that?
I've seen a lot of this. I'm assuming I'm older than both of y'all. I look younger, but I'm a little older. But what I've seen is we're not as involved in our children's upbringing. We're let society, technology, and the lack of teaching that they're getting in these public schools dictate the thought pattern of our children. We don't go to no parent-teacher meetings. Go to them and see how many people you see in there that look like us.
Yeah.
None.
Right.
We don't even go to the city council meetings. We don't even know what the hell's going on in our neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We just see people moving in and out. Right. We don't have any idea why. So you got somebody else creating your environment. You were the first teacher of your children. You can't blame that on them teachers at school. A lot of these people send their kids to school, and they go to school as a recess so they can get some time away from their children instead of them doing the opposite. You know what I mean? And being in part of their development. You know what I mean? They're not self-teaching their children. We know right from wrong, but once again, you can't teach what you don't know. So if you didn't learn it in your development and growing up, you ain't got nothing to teach your child. I would rather they get education somewhere else than some of these parents that I see out here. You know what I mean? Because they're not teaching them good information. They're teaching them bad habits, and they're teaching them the wrong lifestyle that they're supposed to be living. We have a certain lifestyle that we had before we came over here to this country. That's been gone. That is not being taught.
Right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. Totally. Let's look at a little bit more of this video, bro, and let's see if we can get some answers, man. We can glean some answers from what is going on here.
She accepts that, and I accept her. And she makes her own decisions. She tells me she's a virgin. I have no other proof, so I believe it. But once again, I am not one of those men who will push and press my impressions of.
Whoa, what happened? What happened? Oh,
on my offspring.
There we go.
Because from my experiments, from Craigslist, I know kids will do what a lot of different things. A lot of different things.
That's exactly what our role is as a father, to push our impressions on our kids. We want them to be better versions of us. That's what we're supposed to do. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is, all right, I have some friends right now. They have a 16-year-old daughter. They're good people. She is wild as hell. And it isn't because she doesn't have good parents. It is because of who she is. And this is something that a lot of people cannot, it's like, well, she had bad parents. She could have had the best parents in the world, and she just turned out to be one of those kids. And there are many, many parents out there who have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old children that they cannot control, they cannot instill, they can't put anything in them. And this is something a lot of people have a hard problem understanding, because everyone reaches an age where they understand what they're doing. And some people reach that age earlier. Some of these kids know exactly what they're doing. They're smoking, they're having sex.
But you just said it, Glenn. You said they're kids. Why would you, as a grown man, be interested in somebody whose brain isn't scientifically, and you know this for a fact, proven to be even developed until their 20s? Why would you take advantage of that as a man that not only is a grown man, you have power, you got resources, you got cars, you got all of this stuff that you know are enticing to children? You call them kids out of your own mouth. Why would you even consider that, bro? Why would you consider talking to a 16-year-old, a 17?
All right, y'all. The next thing I want to talk about is Anton. What did y'all think about Anton's response to this guy Glendon here?
I think Anton was on point. Like I said, I ain't nothing against Anton. I mean, he's on point. I think he brought it to him the way it should have been brought. And the guy is totally off point. This Glendon dude, he's on some get your ass kicked shit from where I come from. Real talk. So, I don't agree with everything Anton says either, but he brought it to him the way it was supposed to be brought. You know what I mean? And maybe this is the problem. We're not bringing it to our brothers, and we're out there talking to them on the street. We know they through that developmental stage. We know, you know what I'm saying? They need to see examples of what you're supposed to be. And if they're not seeing it, they're going to go with the flow. They're going to go with whatever the hell it is.
Right. What you got to say about that, Brother Jarvis?
As far as Anton, how he was responding to the brother, I'm one. I like to let people finish their thoughts. Brother be talking and then Anton to jump in. I mean, to me, let him finish his thought first, and then go from there. Because a lot of times, I mean, I don't know this guy. I don't know. See, it's hard for me. It's not hard to follow, and I just want to know the story. I mean, you did this willingly. You knew that were underage girls, and my question would be to the brother is that wasn't there something in you that told you there's something wrong here? I shouldn't be doing this because you can only silence the voice of God for so long. Because you could be less than 1 years old, and if your mother gives you instruction not to eat the cookie, and a 1 year old eat the cookie, you ask the 1 year old, "Did you eat the cookie?" and crumbs are all around he or she's mouth, and the 1 year old say no, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say, who taught the child to lie? See, the child know they did wrong, even before they won. They don't want to get in trouble, so they say no. So the voice of God is always there. So my question to homeboy is, when did you silence that voice? And you can only silence that voice for so long. So like I said, I don't really have, I don't know why. I'm not gonna say I don't know why, but I really wish Anton would let homeboy finish his thought. Although his thought, I disagree with Brother D. You are on some, because I got sisters and I got a daughter, and I really don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You old man and my sister and my daughter, and you come knocking at the door. Ain't too much to talk about. Like D said, you want some kick your ass kind of stuff.
No talking.
Ain't
Not a conversation.
nothing to talk about. There's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can tell me. So I mean, I know that I know you know what you're doing is wrong. So I know you know that. So why? Come on, man. That girl's underage. Leave that girl alone. Because I don't want to hear you come knocking at my daughter's door. I don't want to hear you come knocking at my sister's door or my niece.
Not only that, it's not only that.
I don't want to hear
it. It's not easy since it's not. It's not only that. It's the fact that when he also said that he went to a married woman's house. He went to a married woman's house, and the husband confronted him at the married woman's house, right? That's every guy's nightmare. The husband confronts you, you dealing with a married woman, right? He said, I'm sorry, take that back. He said that he was dealing with this married woman. The husband got in her phone, found his name and address, came to his house. He said he invited the guy in and had a drink with him, right? I don't know if you guys listened to that part of it. Well, I don't know. Brother Jarvis, he wasn't. Okay. But then he said, later on, I don't drink. Well, how'd you invite the guy in the house for a drink if you don't drink? Right?
He said a whole lot of inconsistency.
Right. But the point is, he got caught up with a married woman. So, I mean, he's just teaching a lot of different things, man, that, like, there's, in a society, you have to have social norms. Shout out to the lead attorney. Shout out to the coach clinician. Shout out to Anton. Shout out to even Glendon. But let me shout out somebody who I was telling this to a couple of weeks ago when we had him on the stream. Shout out to Daryl Long. Every day, everything, every day podcast. Check out Daryl. Go join Daryl Long's podcast. Anyway, I was telling Daryl Long, man, you got to have social norms. You got to have social norms, so that your society will stay intact. And the reason why the Romans and the Greeks fell apart, and the Ethiopians and the Egyptians, was because they did not stick to their social norms. They didn't stick to their culture. They started trying to do things that they was doing over in other parts of the world, trying to absorb that into their culture instead of just sticking to their own culture and having a dynasty like the Chinese had, 1,400, 1,200 year dynasties, right? because they just stuck to the program. But anyway, so he was saying a lot of these things that was inconsistent. Now, my question is, I agree. Anton kept cutting them off, but that's what he does. He keeps cutting them off. But was he in the right place? Brother D already said, yeah, he was in the right place. He may not have did it right, but he was in the right place. I feel like he was questioning them. But the only problem I have with Anton is he don't want people coming at him the way he's coming at these other people. And that's what I don't like. I don't like that. If you're gonna come at people like that with all that heat, you better be ready for people to come at you with all that heat. But he don't want that. Plus, I was saying earlier, remember he came on this live stream with me and said, brother, if you need any help, reach out to me. I'll do something. I'll do what I can to try to help you. I said, okay. So about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I sent him an email asking for his help on something. Still haven't heard back. Right? But I don't trip, man. Once somebody let me know I can't do business with them, I'm cool. I don't even have to. It wasn't even no big deal, right? We all grown ups over here, so it's not about me being mad at him. But we got to have these social norms so that things don't get out of hand, man. And one of the social norms that we got to have is we got to respect the youth. We have to respect the youth of the person, man, because if we don't respect that, then this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. In Greece, they didn't respect the youth of the person, right? Even in their stories, where they had a story where Zeus, the god of everything, turned himself into a bird to go snatch up a little boy that he saw from his family. Took him from his family, right? But that was okay back then, right? That's the way they thought about the situation. They didn't realize if everybody in the Romans, you had to have a boyfriend. You had to have a wife and a boyfriend. You had to, or there was something wrong with you, right? And they didn't realize that, man, you breaking down these social norms, what's going to happen is your society is going to fall apart. Because the real OGs are going to be like, I'm not trying to be around, man. I'm not trying to have no boyfriend. What you talking about? I'm out. You know what I mean? And then those are the people that actually willing to fight for the country. Whereas the people that's just not having social norms, they break the country down. That's what I think is happening in the black community, where we got a lot of guys out here that don't have social norms. Let me read this private chat real quick. Okay. Brother Jarvis, I see that you got to go, man. So you can give us your final thoughts, man, your closing thoughts, and I'll let you get out of here. Me and Dia take it over.
Yeah, it's not going to be long. This is a very sensitive subject and very, I guess you could say, gut wrenching. I don't know if this man is a predator. I'll just bottom line it. There's nothing as a society we can do with a predator. If you're abusing children, you got to go. That's just the bottom line. We can't reform you. We can't really do nothing for you. There is nothing we can do for you. You got to go. Yeah. And pretty much those are my final thoughts. Thing we can do for someone who abuses his authority or abuses the power he has over a child. That's it, bro. That's all I got.
All right, Brother Jarvis, we appreciate you as always stopping in, man, checking in. And we'll catch you on the next live stream. Peace, brother. All right, that was Brother Jarvis. And we're going to get him down. So, yeah, brother. What do you think? What do you think you could tell the children if you have children, how they could maneuver through dealing with guys like that? Like, what would you tell them to, about this situation, man, and how to handle it?
Well, one of the things that we've lost is we got off code. Right. There was a code of conduct that you had back in the day. And we've lost that. And there's a level of discipline that you have to have. You can't conquer any country, you can't conquer anything if everybody's not on the same page, if everybody's not marching the same step, and there's no discipline. I ain't never went to a war with undisciplined people. They got dealt with if they were.
Right.
You ain't winning no wars with undisciplined people.
Right.
They can get you killed or they're going to get killed. And guess who's going to kill them first? Us.
Right.
So that's part of the problem. And who are we killing? We killing us because we lost our code. We lost the level of discipline that we used to have. And if we lose that, we can't even pass that on to the younger ones coming up. You know what I'm saying? And that starts from the time they're young babies. You don't wait until they get 16, 17 years old to instill discipline or code of conduct because they're already made up their mind. They're going to do whatever they want to do at that point. Right. But there was no discipline in place. There was no code of conduct for them to follow. They were just raising themselves, or the street was raising them, or these BS schools was putting something else in their head that we should be putting in their heads. Right. So that's the problem. Yeah. And unless we address that, ain't no sense to talk about everything else that everybody else is doing in society, that systemic racism and all that kind of stuff. It starts in the home.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm saying, Brother D, in the home, I got a granddaughter right now. If I was to sit my granddaughter's only, thank God she's only like 2.5, 3 years old. But when she gets to a certain age, which is maybe next year or the year after that, somebody's gonna have to sit her down, probably be my wife, sit her down and say, okay, somebody touch you here, somebody touch you there. This is what you do. I mean, what do we say to these children? Now, I'm not talking about somebody that young. That's an example. But let's say you got a child, maybe 11, 12, 13, around that age, where they can clearly understand what's going on. What do you say to them to give them advice on how to protect themselves?
Well, you pretty much said it. If somebody's touching you in a certain way that you don't feel comfortable about, or it's just outside of the way we would, let them know what's abnormal. Somebody's touching your private parts.
Right.
Let somebody know. If somebody's doing this, somebody's trying to keep you away from everybody else and segregating you.
Right.
Let somebody know. Because these are all signs of predatory behavior. And you got to tell them at a very young age. They have to be indoctrinated as to what's not normal. And just because they see it out there in the street and they're around their friends, that's what they pick up. Well, my friends are doing it. But I don't think, I think we lost responsibility of the child rearing aspect.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We act like somebody else is supposed to do it. Right. We act like they need to watch a video or a cartoon. Get it over there.
Or the school system, right?
Let me tell you, I graduated school very early. Went to college when I was in high school. I was always on the honor roll. Always have been a straight A student.
Right.
My mother was a teacher. Unfortunately, I went to the same school she went to. So discipline was attacked, so I couldn't act up.
Right.
Do is say, hey, you don't want to embarrass her. So,
right.
But it has a lot to do with your upbringing. But then you have to have your children built up. I'm going to call it an immune system. There's a lot of viruses out here, but you got to have them built up intellectually and mentally so that they know the difference between the virus and they can fight it off. You know what I mean? Or something that ain't right.
Right.
But if they're never taught right and wrong, but they used to seeing everybody else do stuff, they're going to try to go along with the crowd.
Yeah.
Even if they know it ain't right. Even if they know it ain't wrong. They just going to do what everybody else is doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the discipline part. If they have discipline, they'll fight that off. They'll know I ain't supposed to do this regardless of what everybody else doing, because this is the right side, and this is the way I can develop. They're gonna collapse. I'm not, because I'm gonna keep my discipline together and I'm gonna stay on code. And that's what we're lost. And as long as we can get that back, but when we refuse to teach that, and we refuse to bring that first and foremost, instead of letting the neighborhood teach your children, or the schools teach your children, or bad influences teach your children, we need to take the first responsibility of that. And until we start doing that, we're gonna have what we have out here now. You know, we got a bunch of people running amok, and now they're grown. You know what I'm saying? And they think it's all right to shoot up the neighborhood and sling dope in your hood and all that kind of stuff. That's not normal.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not, brother. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a very complex situation. From just like you said, the drugs and just the people just trying to survive. They don't really have time to, go through, sit the child down and say, okay, where you been today? What you do today? It's difficult, man, because everybody's working, everybody's trying to take care of business, and it's hard. It's hard. But what's our option? If we don't do it, stuff like guys like this will be able to, get our girls and our boys caught up. And then by the time we find out, they're 20 or 30 years old saying, this happened to me when I was 10 and I never told you, because, you know what I mean? And then their life is all screwed up. It don't have
to come from you, though, because maybe you don't know the answer. You know what I'm saying? Maybe grandma doesn't know. Because grandma grew up the same way you grew up, and she taught you, what do they say? I taught them everything I know.
Right.
That might be nothing. So you find somebody else needs to be sitting down with them.
Right.
But I think we can understand the difference between somebody that has the intelligence level or the background to pass that information on, like the brother you had on earlier.
Right.
Information.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I wanted him on.
But you don't want to be sitting them down with Kiki down the block or Ray Ray.
Right.
And on the corner slinging bags all night.
Right.
Chances are they're going to get to him before you do. Yeah. So I think that's a solution. And it got to be you. It can be somebody else. But I think that's the problem. We're keeping our children guarded for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
They need to be out and exploring other seasons and other situations.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think I got very enlightened at a very young age because I got to study different cultures. I got to travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
The different, see how other stuff was. Some people leave their damn neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a bad influence. Because once you leave and go somewhere else, you see a difference. And then when you come back, you see what the difference was from where you just left. It might be the same, or it might be better.
Right.
But just sticking in your block,
it ain't gonna work.
Education, and that's not a cultural education. And that's what we're losing.
Yeah, that ain't gonna work. Well, Brother D, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. I think we done pretty much covered what we need to cover as far as protecting our children. You got any last final words, man, that you can put on? Oh, before you get into that, Brother D, let's remind the people that this Thursday coming up, what date is that? That is the 14th.
14th?
That is the 14th. Okay. This Thursday, the 14th, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're going to be here. No pressure, Brother D. No pressure. You're going to be here, man.
Bring a little content. They might not understand a damn thing I'm saying.
Hey, man, you might just be talking to me, brother, but at least, you put it out there, man. You know what I mean? So, but this Thursday, I'm going to try to promote it myself. This Thursday, you're going to be having, now, what exactly are you going to be teaching, brother? What exactly are you going to be sharing?
I'm going to send you a synopsis, but I got so many subjects that I can teach because
Okay.
I have a ridiculous background. I could teach insurance. I could teach financial planning. I could teach commercial real estate, residential real estate. So I believe the first thing I'm going to put out there is something for the business owners or somebody trying to get into business. So I'm going
Okay.
to put in unsecured lines of credit, which a lot
Wow.
of people
Okay.
don't even know exists.
Okay.
How do you get it? Where do you get it from to start your business or maintain the business that you have? Because a lot of businesses have hurt, and a lot of
Okay.
them out of business because of lack of capital.
Right.
We want to talk about that, it's particularly restaurants and public service places. You know, taverns, nightclubs, and stuff like that. I know a lot of nightclubs are my clients, and they went down the tubes because of this pandemic. So
Yeah.
I'm in a restoration process, trying to get folks back up,
Right.
trying to open things back up again. And all my clients, I'm going to be hitting them up. So I'm going to give them information that my clients are going to get also. And I charge my clients, so they're going to get it for free.
Right. Right on, man. Right on. Well, my suggestion is, you know, give them as much of them as you can, but if they want to dive deeper, a little program that you can charge them for, and you charge for your time, and they can come in and you know, they can come and get it from you, man. Get a consultant, you know, get a consult from you. But anyway, so you say you're gonna be on talking about lines of credit for business.
Unsecured lines of credit.
Unsecured lines of credit.
Right.
Man,
you don't need any collateral. It's all based on your credit score.
Music to black people's ears, bro. Unsecured. Beautiful, man. Beautiful language. Right. All right, brother D. Let me get your we're gonna look for that on Thursday, the 14th at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so what are your final closing thoughts on the whole predator, keeping your children safe from the predator situation? What is your final closing thoughts on that, brother?
I'm going to say treat your children like they really cherish to you, because they snatching us up off the streets, period. And we're disappearing and never to be heard from again, because they have a lot of sex trafficking going on nationwide. It's big time down here in the ATL. They have a lot of selling children as slaves to people from other countries. So we need to be cognizant of that. If we really care about our children, we need to act like we're the number one sentry, the number one guardian of our child, and make sure they stay close and tell them what they need to know. Because don't let your children run out here and just be victims of the streets, and don't be victim of the streets yourself.
Right.
I keep my hammer on me. Everybody in my family got a hammer. We're victims out here.
Right.
Every time I look at the news.
Right.
So, that's my parting statement. I mean, let's start being safe as black people. Let's be black first before we're LBGT and all that stuff.
Right.
Let's do what we got to do. I shouldn't have mentioned that, because you know they.
Man, don't even worry about it. Brother D, I love you so much, man. I'll say, hey, Brother D, whoa, easy, slow down. So don't worry, man. If I don't tell you, you good. You good, man. Because I know you would.
Cognizant, though. You know?
Yeah, I know you would tell me the same thing, man.
Right.
Okay, man. I appreciate you stopping up, Brother D, and you know, keep working on it and send me what whatever, man, so I can take a look at it too, so I maybe be able to help it, or whatever, if I can, man. But I sure would appreciate you, and I appreciate you doing this. Stepping out there and doing this, man.
No problem, man. I'm trying to boost up a lot of the black media. You know what I'm saying? So we can put the real truth out there from our perspective and not theirs.
Yeah.
So I ain't got no problem with dropping knowledge and putting stuff out there. That's what we're not doing a lot of. Some of us are starting to do it, but we need to keep that a normal practice, so that we're putting people's platforms out there.
Right on, man. I appreciate you, brother. All right, man, I'm going to let you get out of here, man, and I'm going to shut it down in about 5 more minutes myself. All right, Brother D. See you later. Peace. See you later, Sister Glenda. Appreciate you. All right, bro. All right, man. That was Brother D, another hard driving soldier. All my hard driving soldiers, Sister G, Blind Guy, JP, all my hard driving soldiers. I appreciate y'all. Y'all could be with me, Miss B Finesse, or with the brother Before the Billions, or whoever else is out there right now. So I appreciate y'all at least stopping by. We little, but we're gonna grow. We're gonna grow because we just hit it. We just hit it from a different angle. All right. Anyway, y'all come back next week, and I promise you I will do the Black History Minute. I do have that. I'll do the job of the week. I'll do everything, and I'll even do the old school jam. We'll do everything we're supposed to do next week, and we will see y'all next week. But y'all be here Thursday for Brother D's, Brother Daniel's presentation. Sounds like it's going to be out of sight, right up Black people's ear, unsecured credit, right up our lane. So we need to know about that, especially in the business world. He can break all that down for us. So I'll see y'all here at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if y'all have any questions about any other topic y'all want us to talk about on a live stream or on a video, let us know. Let us know. All right. Until then, see y'all later. All my hard driving soldiers. See y'all. Have a great rest of the day here